Kirkwood. You are a professor at Newcastle University Institute for Aging and also chairman of the AXA Research Fund Scientific Board. Could you just tell us what you think of the day so far?
The conference is very interesting and it touches on such an important issue in today's world. We know that we're all living longer and longer and longer. And so the main concern that people have is, with all these extra years of life, what will their health be like when they get old? Will they become frail? Will they become dependent? And if they do become dependent and they need medical and social care, who is going to pay the bill?
And you gave a very nice talk this morning. Could you just recap on some of the points that were mentioned?
I think the big issues for AXA, as a representative of the insurance industry here, but also for national systems, is to decide when a person begins to need extra care, extra support. So what we need to do is to get better consistency, better clarity of the transition from being able to live normally without care to needing care. And for an insurer, for AXA providing long-term care insurance, the question is, at what point does a person's health mean that they become eligible for payment from their insurance package? Now, when you first ask the question, it seems kind of obvious, but actually there is a lot of detail that is really critically important. And what we see is, if we look around the world, we find that in different countries they have different criteria, and what we want is to have consistency that helps the client to understand what it is they're buying, and it helps AXA to know at what point they need to plan to provide the care. So we need to address how to get comparability. We need to address how to get standardization, and we need to think, what are the transitions where introducing extra care is going to make the difference to the client.
Thank you very much for your time, Professor. Hello again, Professor Pierre-Yves. You are the director at the Paris School of Economics and director of research at CNRS and the École des Hautes Études en Sciences Sociales. You are one of our academic guests today. Would you like to tell us what the key challenges for long-term care are from an economist's point of view?
I think long-term care is, by definition, and it's its name, a long-term issue. But at the current times of very low interest rates, any long-term issue is now very present. So it makes all discussions more acute. Overall, the burden, the forecasting future needs, and the global burden, it will probably be manageable. In France, it's estimated that it should, in the 20 or 30 years to come, it should be around 0.4 to 0.7, at least less than 1% of GDP. So it should be doable, it should be manageable. But yet, there's huge inequalities and of course, dependence, loss of autonomy is a risk. So some people will bear this risk and some others will not. So the distribution and how the burden of costs is shared within the society is an important issue. The combination of formal care and informal care, the care given by family, by children, daughters mostly, how it combines with formal care provided in institutions, and all these issues are of course important issues. In this workshop today, it's I think one of the great aspects of this workshop was that the international composition of the crowd, or the diversity of the crowd. Academics are not only economists, I love economists, but I also love to discuss with demographers, with gerontologists, with doctors, and this is an opportunity to do so. Also, the international composition of the AXA team is a way to give some feedback about different institutional contexts, but also different cultural contexts. Now, if we think about the long-term perspectives, one of the main issues is how the formal care is going to be organized, and nursing homes, how they are regulated, is there room for competition, how different technological innovations, which will help us potentially to age in a more active and in a more healthy way, how are they taken care of? Who is going to pay for it? Who is going to benefit from it, and at what speed? All these questions are very important. So it's not only, long-term care is not so much an issue of global burden and financing the global burden. We really have to dig into who bears the cost, how it's going to happen. So we really have to switch from a macro perspective to a very detailed micro perspective, and also to focus a great deal of attention on the supply of care. It's whether there's going to be innovations, and whether there's going to be cost saving innovation in that sector is a major issue in the medium to long run.
Thank you very much. Hello, Professor Dolly Day. You are from the University of Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and you're one of our guest academics today at the LTC conference. Could you just describe your research for us, please?
Yes, in Amsterdam we have been running a longitudinal study since 1992, and every 3 years we follow people, and the main issue is changes in functioning of older people. Its study is still running, and so we know a lot about trajectories of disability, frailty, cognitive impairment, social functioning.
And you're looking at ways to delay disability in older people.
Because, well, this was in the context of the MOPEX project, mobilizing the potential of active aging in Europe, MOPEX. And we did a review of longevity, and we saw that, of course, life expectancy is increasing, but the healthy life years are not increasing in the same way. And so there will be more people in the future, more older people with morbidity, with chronic diseases. And so we thought, if we can find a way to keep people with chronic diseases actively engaged in society, maybe it will help to delay disability. So we, based on our empirical data from Europe, from the PIERRE study, so we calculated scenarios. If we would increase social participation more than it is now in people with chronic diseases, would disability be delayed? And in fact, the result was kind of disappointing, because we found only 1 month of delay, or maybe in the maximum scenario possible, maybe it was 3 months. So it was not too much. So what we learned is, social engagement is good for people, but it doesn't delay disability. So we have to find other ways to delay disability. And so in the European Union there is this saying, active and healthy aging, as if active and healthy are the same thing, but it's not.
And you're looking into those ways?
In the future we will, yes. And what we feel is important now is, chronic diseases. People with chronic diseases participate in society. It's not really a limitation for them, but people with disability have more problems to participate. So we have to find ways. So having a chronic disease is not, we can manage, but disability is a real problem. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hello, Miss Annie Tay. You are Chief Risk Officer at AXA Asia, and you're one of our guests today at the Long-Term Care Conference. And you assisted in a workshop about how to integrate advanced technologies in funding LTC in the future. Could you tell us some more about this?
Well, I'm actually very excited to be here, first and foremost, because it's a rare opportunity for an insurance company to think with such innovation and foresight on matters that are both on a social perspective important, but also from a financial business perspective, an opportunity that is here to change. And what is very interesting in this workshop I found was that everyone wanted a change, huge change from the academia side to the business side. And there is potentially, because of all the technology disruptions that are going on, especially body parts, body parts, genetics, and all the medical advances that we talked about, it is actually very exciting. It does change the product features of our business. It potentially changes the business model of long-term care for us, and it also potentially brings to customers something very different. So definitely something that I thoroughly enjoyed and intellectually very useful.
Could you perhaps give us some more details about the specific technologies that could be involved?
Well, from what I'm hearing with all the experts on the panel, I thought it was actually quite good because one is the technology aspect. I mean, the saffron that brought in all the bioparts, amazing. It's materially going to change the way we design our products for our customers, and the pricing of our customers, and the difference in services compared to our competitors if we do adopt things like that. So these are lots of food for thoughts, I think. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hello, Dr. FRIEDRICH HOLLERBACH. You are from AXA Germany Health. Can you tell us about your research, please?
I'm an actuary and I'm responsible for calculating the long-term care tariffs and make many statistics.
And could you tell us what is specific about long-term care system in Germany?
The long-term care is well developed in Germany. We have introduced a public scheme in 1995, and all people in Germany are covered by this system. The system is divided in the private LTC and the social LTC, so about 11% of the all inhabitants in Germany are in the private system, and AXA is a part of it. AXA, so it's very important. AXA Health Germany is a part of the public system. The people have the same cover in the public and in the social system. It's exactly the same. And so about 9 million people are in the private system, and from that about 800 people are insured by AXA. That's the one side, and it's well developed, about 20 years. On the other side there is a supplementary system, and the main players in the supplementary systems are the private health insurers too. And AXA is a big player in it, and in whole Germany about 3 million people have an LTC contract, and so we have many experience in Germany, and it's very nice to work on it, and it's still exciting. In 2017 the government introduced a new medical assessment, a new definition for dependency, and so the work goes on and new things will come to us.
Thank you very much. Hello, ENAMI-san. You are manager life risk management from AXA Japan.
Yes, I am.
Could you tell us a little about your work there, please?
So, as a life risk manager, I'm in charge of providing second opinions on our life-based statement assumptions, as well as our product approval process. And also, my responsibility also covers lifestyle calibration. So that's the main tasks for us.
And today's conference was about long-term care. Could you tell us about what is specific in the Japanese long-term care system?
First of all, to explain our public system on long-term care, the system was introduced in 2000 year to be added on top of our existing social insurance system. So it's a co-payment system, and we pay regular premium, for the people above 40 years old. And in case someone is diagnosed as in need of long-term care, the government and the fund will support the person for the need they require.
So it's really a complement to the public system.
As a private insurance provider, we offer clients with our long-term care products, which will pay a lump sum benefit, which is contrary to the government's actual benefit. But our lump sum benefit is quite useful, as in Japan we tend to be selective on the care home people want to go, and they tend to charge a large amount of lump sum payment when they enter. So our long-term care products can be a support for such need.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello, Marianne Tenon. You're a PhD student at the Paris School of Economics and the École Normale Supérieure. And could you tell us a little about your PhD research, please?
Yes, so I'm interested in the effects of long-term care policies on home care utilization, so both the care provided by professional caregivers and also by the family. And I'm also working on a project which is being developed at the Paris School of Economics, and the project aims at building a micro-simulation model of disability and long-term care. And so, I'm especially interested in all the aspects that relate to the practical construction of such a model.
Could you explain a little more about this model?
Yes, so the idea of the model is that you start with a population, a representative population of the disabled, the elderly in France, because I'm interested in France, and so you will try to project their disability history in the future decades, so that you have for every point in time until, let's say, 2050, an idea of the disability status of every individual with her individual characteristic and the global population. And so one major issue, I would say, is that you have to come up with the relevant disability definitions to do that and to build a model.
And you talk about disability. Is that very different from the long-term care needs in general? Do you treat that differently?
So I think it's a good question, especially after today, because we have been discussing about what is the most relevant measure of long-term care needs or disability. And I think what I realized today is that really we should think differently about measures of disability, which is I mean, what epidemiologists do, they are, describing the functional status of someone. And I think in that domain, like ADL and IADL are very consensual measures. But what we may be more interested in from an insurer's point of view, from an individual point of view, and also from the point of view of public policies and from the society as a whole is how these disabilities relate to or induce some long-term care needs. And I think what we may more need to do is to have a consensual definition of a grid of long-term care needs, and I think so far we don't have one, and it's what we should be working on.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.